But what do you make of the numbers?
Look, short term, I think that deliveries number is interesting. Obviously, we've known the number for this quarter, for about a month now. But the forecast is interesting in that on the Estimize platform, we're looking for about 935,000 cars delivered this year. And that forecast would put that above where the consensus is from the buy side. So, in the short term, it looks like Tesla is delivering on its promise to ramp up production. In the long term, look, the competition from Volkswagen and GM and all of the rest of them are going to eat into that market share. So, are they going to be able to live up to the valuation that they've got here on the basis of just delivering cars alone? Probably not.
Leigh, it's interesting. We're hearing more and more about some of those EV tax credits. We're looking through the numbers now, and for the quarter, it was $518 million. That is up from $400 million in the previous quarter. And there's been just maybe some longer-term questions about how you're profitable without some of those tax credits. Is that a concern for you at this point?
Again, I think short-term, there is some concern around that. You look what's happening in some of the state capitals here in Montana. They're trying to pass a law that, basically taxes EVs at $400 a year. And that's trying to make up for the fact that they're taxing gasoline. But that would be a heavier tax on EVs than it would be on gasoline. Gasoline would roughly come out to about $125 a year for the average driver. So, federal versus state, regulations here, it could definitely play in short term. I mean, long term, is it going to really hamper the move to EVs broadly? No, but you could see that cut into their profitability short term here.
One thing, Leigh, that everyone has been looking for with regards to all the automakers, particularly GM, Ford, and including Tesla, is how they might have been affected by the chip shortage. The only real mention that they make of it in their presentation is basically says that they were able to, quote, navigate through global chip supply shortage issues, in part by pivoting extremely quickly to new microcontrollers. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but according to them, at least it sounds like this isn't a big issue for them.
Well, I mean, look, their deliveries number beat the consensus here by the widest margin that we've seen in their history, basically since they've been public. So obviously they were able to pivot there well. I don't think you're going to get too much depth on that from them. They're kind of making it up as they go along anyway. And, some quarters they disappoint on that number because they don't execute. And some quarters, like this quarter, they blew it out of the water. So I don't think you're going to get too much depth on why that happened from the team over there.
Do you care about net cash outflows on Bitcoin or what Bitcoin does to its cash and how it has basically exposure to what cryptocurrencies are up to?
Look, from a fundamental perspective, I don't think this matters to the company. But I really do think it matters to the story of the company, and that is what is driving the valuation of Tesla at this point. Listen to what Musk is doing on Twitter, in the media at large. Not the micro aspects of it, but the macro aspects. He understands better than anybody else what's driving the valuation of this company, and that's just a piece of it. And it continues to keep people involved in that story. Look, Lyft just sold its driverless unit for $500 million. Uber sold off its driverless unit. Musk is definitely in over his skis on promising FSD. There's going to be some kind of lawsuit there, eventually. He's way over his skis when it comes to kind of the promise of this thing long term. So he has to keep those investors involved in the story. And honestly, Bitcoin is a great story here from a fundamental perspective on its own. But does it really impact the fundamentals of this company? No, absolutely not.
Leigh, what does impact the fundamentals and what they're touting as a good thing is the average selling price per vehicle has fallen from $84,000 in 2017 to sub $38,000 this quarter. They're saying that a lower cost of a car is key to their mission when it comes to making inroads in volume and market share, but they're highlighting they're cutting costs faster, and so they're excited about the expansion of the gross margins. How are you thinking about an average selling price at $38,000?
Yeah, look, I'm pretty bullish on their ability to contain costs internally and raise the margin. Look, they were building cars out of a tent, and now they've got some really serious factories up and running here, and there's going to be a couple more online this year, and that should definitely add to their ability to be a profitable car company. When we look at the competition, though, obviously the cost of EVs across the board are going to have to come down. And they definitely will, as especially this administration pushes over the next couple of years to really, get in place the momentum for a broad shift.